The origin of the Pomeranian comes from the region of Pomerania, former Germany, today Poland. It is a very old breed. Really, the line of the Pomeranian comes from what is called Spitz, an ancestral line that is divided by sizes. We have from the giant Spitz that is a wolf-type dog and with the appearance of Pomeranian, goes down to the miniature Spitz that is the one we call as Pomeranian and dwarf Spitz. In some international associations the Spitz differentiates according to the weight, but the most general thing is that it differentiates according to the size. Here when we have a specimen 100% Colombian and already 7 to 8 years old, where one can observe several characteristics of the breed. One of them is the coat that is an abundant hair. The Pomeranian has a double hair that is an outer layer and a very fine inner layer. That is why when a Pomeranian is bathed, it is so important a good drying because the Pomeranian could feel dry on the outside while inside it could be still wet. It is a delicate issue of care, the subject of the bath of a Pomeranian. What we generally handle here in Pomeranian of the Colombian genetics is a dog that although it has very good volume of hair still has a size that keeps it away from being a mini, a dwarf. One can also see here in the coat that the hair is not born from the nose but from this part of the head. This other characteristic that we could differentiate with the Pomeranians that are being imported. That now we look at them, the hair is also a hair that is born from below and it is not a little bit that is born more from the upper part of the paw. In the part of the conformation of the face it is necessary to keep in mind that the original line of the Pomeranian that is the Spitz, is a wolf-type dog. Its characteristics is that it has pointed ears and an elongated muzzle. That is the characteristic that for many years the dog has had. Some time ago they have been developing or improving other type of lines in which people commercially speak, for example of bear face or girl face, that are not Pomeranian breeds. That is more styles that have been handled in certain countries, and that as they have done so much genetic pressure on those specific animals, it is achieved that it is standardized a little, but that goes against the original lines of the Pomeranian. Puppies La Manuela is a family business, was born in 2013. Initially born as acquisition of a puppy for the daughter of us. We saw that it was a breed very suitable for this type of environment, to be with a child and so be at family level. We started on that side and then we were falling more and more in love with the race. We began to study, we began to do a genetic work, where we were progressing in size, looking for a smaller size, and 2 years ago we started to be a work with a breeder in St. Petersburg, Russia, specialized in the genetics of Pomeranian for exhibitions, and we began to export the best animals that we found, so that our Colombian genetics, let's call it this way, gave an additional step, because really the power that is handled at the level of exhibitions internationally, is a Pomeranian that now we are going to see with animals, is a thinner Pomeranian, more hairy and some characteristics that people like a lot, but really we began more for a theme of love to the race, to something more familiar, and that later became us a passion, and we are already at this point. She is a female, born from the imported father and one of the best females that we had here in Colombia. She is already a 12-month-old female and she already has the size with which she is going to be, and one sees that the hair she is very abundant and she is very compact. Compact is this length that we have in her, and the sizes are very small. They are handling animals like Luca from 17-18 centimeters to puppies of 19-20 centimeters, which under the standard either by weight or by size are very small animals. This girl, for example, we have her waiting for the dog that is doing the championship in Russia to arrive. It is a much more orange dog, strong like her. It is expected that the pups will be much better than what we have in her. Tobias, for us, is a blessing. Because we had another child, because for me he is a baby, a child, who was with us for 16 years, a decision that when he died we said no more dogs, because it was very hard for us. And about 10 months ago I wanted a puppy and I want a puppy, I want a puppy again. Oscar told me no, I do not want a puppy, I do not want to go through that pain again. No monkey, buy something else, but no puppy. Until we made the decision and we started looking for a dog, I told him that I wanted that gift. It was the best decision we could have made. To have bought another one of these dogs, and have it next to us, and more this one. I think that our choice was not to have human children, but to have dog children. In that order of ideas, we prepared ourselves economically, socially, psychologically. My family was waiting for the day we brought Toby to the house. They were all waiting for him. We arrived here. The nephews came to greet him. We have to take something into account. We are adults and this boy entertains us. He is impressive. But he has always said that dogs are what you teach them. You teach them, how you raise them. If you teach them to be rude to other people, it can be this or any breed. It can be just as rude. But this one we have accustomed him to everyone being healthy with him and not to generate fear or anger with people. To be open to everyone. Tobias' name was chosen by his father, which means thank God for life. Which is Tobias. I am going to tell you something that I think Tobias is a toad. Better said, he does not sit still. But he is all love when he wants and goes to sleep. He usually takes us by the hand, and bites us, stays with his mouth or takes his little ear. We know he is sleepy. Tobias is an independent being. As we have had the fortune of having another puppy that lasted 16 years, he was very dependent on us. Not Tobias. He is freer, more independent. He doesn't like to be carried much. He goes and lies down apart from us. When he wants to play, he plays. When he doesn't, he lies down. He runs all over the house. If he wants to play with us, he brings the toys and shows us what to play. And when he gets tired, he takes his form and lies down. When he wants to be fed by us, because it is no longer our time but his time. He knows himself and goes and searches. Although people think he doesn't, these dogs don't lack but to talk. Because with his gestures and his form and not knowing what they want, Then he goes and shows the lunch jar. He sits down as if to say I am hungry, but he is very independent. He is a super independent child. He is beautiful. He is the blessing of this family, even though we have been blessed with health. He gives us so many things. This is another blessing that comes to the house. He is Tobias, the love of the house. Well, the Pomeranian is a puppy that is very intelligent. By behavior is a puppy that we could call, initially is nervous, is playful, is very given to investigate, and that leads them suddenly sometimes to be restless, is a dog that suddenly is not very advisable for very young children, because it is such a delicate dog and young children do not have yet a control of their strength. It fits very well to the families with the patience that should be had to a puppy, is an animal that learns easily the minimum behavior that we want in the families. The subject of the colors in the Pomeranian. There are some colors that we call standard or basic and many times the most approved by the international associations. We have the cream, that at first sight or very above can seem a white, but really it is more a cream what we handle in the Pomeranian already, and there we pass even to a color that can be called orange. When they are born they are much darker, but by the change of hair they are taking already a much more orange tonality. Here we have completely black dogs. There are some lines that are called the party color, that is where we can see dogs are white with spots, some black parts, and it is a very exotic and very beautiful forgiveness. And there are much more exotic lines worth the redundancy, that are for example the merle colors, that are dark dogs, but that there is a gene that produces a spotting of the coat and they look very beautiful, very exotic, very scarce. The Pomeranian all, between the 4 to 5 to 6 months approximately, starting a hair loss, where the dog generally loses many of the characteristics that makes it so striking for the people. Many people can be sad to see that their puppies are no longer as beautiful as before. That stage is very difficult for him who has a Pomeranian puppy, because it really does not look so beautiful. What is the good news in that sense? That the puppy, what he is doing is losing his baby coat, let's say of puppy, and starting to acquire his adult coat, which is a much more beautiful coat than he had. That's why when the families suddenly call us and ask us for advice on what to do for the coat of the dog, why is he losing it? Because they are ugly. Really, what we advise you, follow with a proper feeding, a good feeding, that they do exercise, that your dog type 10, 11, 12 months is going to look completely as if you have rejuvenated, and with the hair with which it is going to finish everything to its adulthood. That is the most beautiful hair in the stage of a Pomeranian. Initially we were looking for the same as Machitas, which was a fresh black mini toy power. We always liked the black dogs and I wanted it black, and we saw this breed. I said, look what a nice breed, a Pomeranian. My husband told me let's look for it. There were many white, definitely black. It was very difficult to locate it, because it was what we wanted, black. We immediately saw him. That's what he was. Apart from that, we have a background with several people who tell us that the Pomeranian is an intelligent dog. He always tries to please people or his owners normally. For us that was important, because we are adults and we are not going to see children here playing with him. It is like adapting to our way of being. The dog enjoys physical activity. Here for example, when it is sunny, you see the dogs playing. Although they have thick coats, because the dog likes that, he likes the pack, he likes the game, he likes to manage his hierarchy at the game level too. Dogs need activity and they like activity. That is why here we try to have the dogs in areas where they can run as much as they want to enjoy. They have water and food available so they can recover, areas where they can be covered from the sun, but ideally, everything they want to run and sunbathe is available to them. The main advantage of working with genetics is that the cycle is very short. What you program today for a female, in 2 months you are already seeing it, and in 1 year you are seeing the final product. The generational time is much shorter, taking into account that a puppy of this kind can last 14, 15, 16 years being already at home, in good conditions, where it can do exercise. A very easy way to show the genetic improvement that is obtained by taking time to analyze what alternatives there are in the world market, and that are better for what we like here in Colombia, is to show 2 animals from when we initially worked with the best genetics that were available in Colombia. Now I was showing you, he is a 7-year-old animal, with all his coat already exuberant. Luca is an adult animal already. He is about to be 16 months old. This puppy is the spearhead of the genetic management that we are doing. He is an animal born in Colombia from 100% imported parents, but where his genealogy. Luca can also help us a lot to see the variation that is being presented between the lines that are handled originally, to the lines that we are currently having, in the subject of genetics. If one can see Luca is an animal that the hair growth is closer to his nose, than far away from his forehead, as if he is an animal that the growth of the hair is closer to his nose, he is a puppy that although he is still ear-pointed, because that is the original line of the Spitz, he is a dog that tends to have the ear implantation a little more to the sides and a little more rounded ear. Aesthetically one cuts the excess hairs and that gives him even more a little ball appearance, which is what people call a teddy bear. Really Luca, as you can see, and as it is the normal thing, it continues being a dog with long muzzle. What happens is that, to the conformation of the ears to lower a little towards the sides, to be a little more rounded, to have hair that has the birth much more near his nose. All that set of things, it seems that the puppy is not so affectionate as people vulgarly say it, but the puppy and the Pomeranian must continue being a pointed dog. That is the normal of his breed and the normal of his nature. The coat continues being dogs of much volume, as we have it here in Tato, that continues being that has not been lost, in the Pomeranian that we are working. We are joining 2 worlds that we were working in a very correct way. We were looking each time to have smaller Pomeranians and with much more volume, and we brought new lines that are lowering the size even more. They keep the volume, but they take them to an extreme that what we are looking for, that the hairline is much lower, that the tail is much more and better implanted and is understood much more on his back, are things that what we are looking for in the Pomeranian and what people are enjoying a lot of the new genetics we are bringing. When the first imported parents were brought, we began that everything that was born we were leaving, to be able to verify first-hand that all these goodness that these new breeders were bringing, really if they were a reality. We already have animals sons of the imported parents with the Colombian mothers, where we can see that all the genetics of the father is expressed much stronger than we thought in the Colombian genetics. There are females born in Colombia, from Colombian mothers and imported fathers, that really resemble the females that we have imported from Russia. That gives us a lot of satisfaction to see that the work we were doing in 2013, if we were doing it in the right way it was. But to adopt, to pay for a puppy, to have a pet in the house is a blessing. I recommend it because even this stress that we had to go through because of the health emergency has been a channel through which we have taken out all the tension that we had in these months of pandemic confinement. This was a love for dogs, and as we started with the Pomeranian, is where we have had more love for the breed. The one who has a Pomeranian realizes that it steals one's heart. It is a very loving breed, very beautiful. This is a passion, and to be a breeder, really a breeder and an improver of the breed, is a passion that one has. But the love that is behind what does not let that impulse to go out. The flame goes out because really this is a love that one takes to these furry ones.